Good Sunday morning. It is a new day, a new dawn. Should be reversed, but hey, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. And we are excited to get to our HodgePodge of the day. I see that Michael's already prepping you guys in the chat that this is a little bit different. So the question is, do you guys, what's your guesses when he says you think it's different? Did he say it? No. You guys, some of you are like, I've noticed, like Michael isn't yet, but some of you are kids on Christmas. And like, you always have the one kid in the family who ruins it for everybody else because they can't like keep a secret for long enough. Some of you are like, just before this, it's better if like they have to like learn it as it goes on. But some of you like just tell people what's coming. Don't tell them, make them wait for it a bit so that they're a little bit surprised. But it looks like we have Jean-Francois in here. We have Adrian, Michael. Who else is here? Oh, Baggins is back. That's good. The question is Para going to show up? Because Para, I actually had a conversation with, and I think he left a comment on a video. He is doing okay. It's not an emergency. He just pulled a muscle, I guess, from coughing too hard. I have to say, I've never had that happen because I smoked a bowl or whatever. So, yeah, what's up, Pyramid? Pyramid's here. So hopefully he'll pop back in the chat and let everybody know that he's doing okay, because yesterday at this time he wasn't doing so well. And what's interesting is like as certain people come, other people disappear. Like where the heck is John Feedy? He hasn't been around. And then where is Manuel Romero? I don't know where that dude is. So yeah, hopefully some people jump back in. Oh, there we go. We've got Rasmus. Rasmus is contemplating possibly turning in a set at some point. So I asked him to join a chat, and here he is. So everybody welcome Rasmus to the group. He enjoyed, looks like the Symphony X set, which to my surprise, I enjoyed all of it. Like, I thought it was pretty good. I would say Masquerade was so-so. But I did like the idea of like matching an original song to like a redone song of the same song. I thought that was a very interesting take. So thanks for that, Jason. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to today. And speaking of surprises, tomorrow, if you haven't seen, for tomorrow's live stream, it's going to be a album. So we're going to be listening to an album, which will be very interesting. So hopefully you guys can make it tomorrow night and you get to hear the album. So, all right, let's start to get into this crazy different kind of set that we have from Michael today. I'm interested what you guys think is going to happen. So let's just get right into it. All right, he says, given our discussions in the chat a few weeks ago now, I was inspired to come up with a set of music heretofore unheard of on this channel, and that is classical music. Now, before anyone leaves, I made sure the clips will be entertaining and not so boring. For those that think classical music is boring, specifically. A bit of background here. I have a music degree, as did my father. My father was a frustrated classical pianist. This is such a cool story. He was a music teacher, so he could earn a living and support his family, but his dream was to play in Carnegie Hall. So cool. Now, he was a fantastic musician, but the only concert pianists that get to play places like that for a living have to be in the top 1% in the world or something like that. My dad was excellent, but he fully admitted he wasn't in that class. Anyways, between hearing him practice every night on his 9-foot concert grand piano in the living room and always hearing classical music playing in the house, I developed an appreciation and love for this type of music. I actually love most music, exceptions being rap and death metal. Sorry, Scott. My dad passed away a year ago this February from Lewy body dementia, which is what my dad has as well. So Michael and I have been going back and forth a little bit on our own about this. But he maintained his interest and love of classical music to the end. And I think that's a really great backdrop for this. So let's get into this first song with that background understood. This is, again, one thing I love about Michael is I said I like when you guys share why you picked a certain song, stuff like that. But I feel like Michael gets a little bit more personal in his share. And I love that, of course, because I just love that. So, all right. Number one. This is a scene from the movie Amadeus, which was about Mozart, which I have seen. I haven't seen in a long time, but the guy who plays Mozart was also in a bunch of other shows. But one movie I remember him being in around the same time was this movie that I think is completely underrated, that everyone should go watch, that I think is awesome, and that is Parenthood. Parenthood had Steve Martin, actually Keanu Reeves. It's one of Keanu Reeves' first movies, as well as it has. Why can't I think of his name? I'm blanking. He did. He was Commodus in Gladiator. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is like a little kid in this movie. It's crazy. So if you have not seen Parenthood, it's actually really funny, and it's a great take on like family life. It's really cool. He was in that as well. He's like the gambling brother who almost dies. Anyway, Mozart was a child prodigy and a prolific composer. He began writing his own music somewhere around the age 5, and by the time he died at age 35, he had written over 600 pieces of music, including symphonies and operas. In this scene, so it's a movie scene, he is meeting some royal aristocrat, forgot who it was being portrayed, who is going to commission Mozart to write an opera. In the process, we meet the monarch's court musician, Salieri. I think is how you say it. Yeah, Salieri? Solieri? Oh, Solieri? Oh, maybe not. Okay. He actually spelled it out for me, so thank you for that, Michael. Solieri. Solieri. Is that how you say it? It looks like Solier to me. Who was a real composer and good one who is forgotten by most because Mozart was possibly the greatest musical genius ever. I chose this scene for the last few minutes where Mozart takes a piece of Salieri wrote and that he'd heard for the first time that moment. Mozart plays it back to him by memory after one listen and then improves on it through improvisation. Mozart could really do stuff like that from what we know of history. The portrayal of him as a goofball is considered inaccurate by the way, although most experts think it may have been his personality among friends, but never around aristocracy. So, okay. I have seen this. It's funny, like when you mentioned that he plays it back from memory after one listen. It's actually becoming a very popular thing on YouTube now. I think there's one of some drummer who plays, I can't remember the group he plays for. He listens to a Metallica song once and then plays the whole thing, which is not really that difficult because it's like an easy Metallica song. Like I could do that, I think. But it's becoming popular to listen to something once and see how much you can play it back the first time. So looks like Mozart was like the first to accomplish this. All right, so here we go. Let's get into this. I have seen this, but it's been a long time, so. Very, very good. All right, so Michael did promise that it was going to be something different, and that it was. It did remind me, though, because, I didn't really ask this. You mentioned your father being great at piano, and that's one of the reasons that you have this whole set list for us. How good are you at piano? Like, do you play chopsticks, or are you really versed in playing piano? I would guess, with your dad being as good as he was, Michael, that you would have to be, proficient, and you probably, I always laugh about this because I remember maybe in college, right after college, going out to bars and stuff like that, and had, a couple of high school acquaintances who I would go see. Like one, he played at Howl at the Moon, which is a dual piano bar. and you basically just, I'm sure you guys know this because they have piano bars everywhere, but you just basically request a song. It could be anything. It could be like, you know, a Britney Spears song or something like that, and they have to sing it and they make fun of it and have fun with it, and it's kind of be crazy. But they all play different instruments, but mostly they play piano. And I remember saying to him, like, you've turned this into a profession. And what's funny is you think of how many kids who were forced to take piano lessons when they were kids and they hated it, and now when they're adults they use it to woo women for men, because like a guy who can play piano is gonna be like the cat's pajamas to girls, you know, a lot of girls anyway. So it's romantic, it's great, but as kids they freaking hated having to go to piano lessons. And like honestly, I wish I could go back and start music when I was young, because I didn't start music. I never even knew anything about music until I was in the middle of high school, like my sophomore or senior year, between that time. So I wish that like when I was in first grade, they would have made me practice the piano or something like that. Although, unless you go into like concerto, whatever, orchestra, like as your profession, I'm sure there's a lot of kids that also had to take like cello and violin that are probably still not happy that they had to take those lessons. But piano is one of those that I think translates into like something you could use. You know, like you're not going to sit down in a bar and start playing a violin, but like you could sit down in a bar, and if they have a piano, you could start playing piano, and everyone's gonna be like, wow, you know. So I just think of all those kids who had to suffer, you know, going to piano lessons once a week or twice a week. When they got older, that'd be a great kind of skill to have in your back pocket that nobody knows about. So let's move on to the second one. Okay, this is a rock version of the summer section of the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. I think it's how you say it, Vivaldi. Yuli John Roth had done this, but I couldn't find a decent video audio of it. But whoever this Laura Lace and her band is, they do a similar version. You will likely see the similarities to this and various neoclassical players like Yngwie Malmsteen and a lot of metal players in general. Right, because a lot of them play very classical scales. And that's the other thing that I'll mention this after we watch this, but that's one thing I liked about, in my opinion, Dream Theater earlier days, is I felt like in their earlier days they did much more classical kind of runs in their music that they don't do as much. They still do it, but not as much as they used to. Along with like the blues and jazz, Petrucci would write a lot of songs that you could feel, like even Under a Glass Moon had such a bluesy feel to its like conception in the solo especially. And like I feel like since then they've kind of gotten away from that, and that's what I like about it, is the bass player John Mayung for Dream Theater was classically trained on violin like his whole life before he got on bass. So that just shows you like there is that background. But I don't like when it's too classical. That's why I like it, the rock influence, because when it gets too classical, neoclassical, it sounds like the Symphony X neoclassical that I don't like. So when you have a good mix of the classical kind of like runs, like the staccatos, the something you would hear on a violin, I think that's really cool. But like when it gets too classically on guitar, it just kind of, to me, it loses something. Just as much as if you take away the classical pieces of just all rock. He says, I think this piece works fairly well in this setting and may even remind you of other metal guitar playing you have heard. It probably will. So this is the summer section of the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Here we go. Let's listen to this. Yep. totally reminds me of Michael Romeo. See, stuff like this. This part of classical, when it gets put into rock prog music, I love it. Nice. The girl's kicking some butt, man. She's cute, too. I mean, I'm sure all those theater nerds are like, oh my god, the queen. Yes. Girl's kicking some serious ass on guitar. I like how she looks at all of them too. I love how she has the forearm strap on. I said strap on, no pun intended. Ooh, nice job.
Настало время нам с вами насладиться звуками последней композиции.
Nice.
Это прекрасная девушка исполнит ее для нас. Она называется Canon Rock. Ну, типа
Рок.
ракетный рок-н-ролл. Судя по тому, что она весь вечер сегодня для нас показывает, вероятно, что...
Okay, he told me to end it at the end. Yeah, so I thought that was cool. Again, it's great to hear, even in like Prague, a lot of Prague, you can tell that a lot of the players started off in classical world. And I think that's one of the things that, in my opinion, is missing in a lot of newer bands. And again, now this is very high-level, general stereotype or look at this, but I do think that there's some truth to it. So don't get too lost in the weeds and be like, well, not in all cases. I know, not in all cases, but just in general. I have said that I feel like the 80s is like the last great decade of music, and it's kind of gone downhill since then. And so the way I look at it is a pendulum, life is always a pendulum. It's like you never get to the balance. It just, maybe the swings are not so far extreme. But if we want to talk about the extremes in music, you have like classical music over here, I think, which was much for like the elites. Very heady, very academic, philosophical, kind of like philosophy is for like this extreme. And then you have like, you know, pop over here, like pop, just pop music. So these are your two extremes. And if you're over on this edge, which I would put prog rock and some metal and stuff like that into, it's going to be a little bit more complicated and a little bit more interesting because it's got more depth to it. But I don't think you want to go so far to the classical where it's kind of, it loses some emotion, because don't hear me say classical doesn't have emotion. But I am saying one thing that I think is great about pop is it kind of plays off the emotion. Blues, except for the solos, blues is just a very simple, kind of redundant 12-bar situation, but highly is situated in the emotional aspect. You feel a lot of emotion, whereas maybe this is a little more stiff. So the sweet spot, obviously, is to be in the middle where you have some like technicality to it, but the technicality doesn't bleed out so much of the emotion. You have a bit of emotion, which is why I love prog rock. So this is, I should write a thesis on this. This is why I think prog rock tends to have bands like Haken, Dream Theater, even Symphony X, Caligula's Horse, Leprous. These bands, I feel like, are the best at being in the middle, where they're technical, but they're not so technical like Yngwie Malmsteen that it loses. Except Yngwie, when Yngwie plays blues, again, going back over here, he's awesome. Like, I've listened to some of his blues stuff and I'm like, damn, he's fucking awesome. But when he gets into the classical, neoclassical, it just loses emotion. It loses connection. So these prog bands that we love, a lot of the ones that we love, I feel like find that sweet spot. That's my thesis. Okay? All right. Let's get on the third one. Okay, this is Caprice number 5 by, I'm not even going to say it, performed by a young lady I never heard of named Sumina Studer. She's 19 in this video, which is from about 5 years ago, so she's quite legal now. I know little about her, but stumbled across her YouTube channel while looking for this piece of music. You will recognize a part of the melody as it was used in the guitar duel with Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio in the movie Crossroads. Oh, interesting. Ry Cooder and Steve Vai played his parts as Macchio could not play the guitar parts required. Yeah, that'd be tough. He does a good job of faking it, though. Sumina does a wonderful job. Sumina? I hope that's right. Does a wonderful job here and is uber talented, but again, the competition in classical music is intense. And so far as I know, she's not made it into a big-time orchestra or done big-time recordings. Many of you will note that the left-hand technique is very similar to guitar. When my dad saw a clip of Steve Vai once, he remarked, he plays guitar like it's a violin. Oh, yeah. Is it... Oh, God, I'm going to try this. Paganini? Paganini was a shredder, as you could tell, and delighted in writing pieces no one else could play at the time. This is late 1800s, I think. All right, so here we go. Caprice number 5. Caprice. Holy crap. Holy shit, man. The John Petrucci. She's gonna have carpal tunnel when she's older. Nice slow down there. Like a syncopation. She looks very cute from here too. I mean, I can't help it. You know. Sumina, if you see this, call me. Her calluses must be really bad. Oof. See, I find this kind of cool. I couldn't sit through hours of it, but it's like she's doing practice. Like, this is the Phrygian scale and E. Dude, those are like adjacent to sweeps in guitar. Very clean too. How is this girl not in an orchestra? Nice. Shit, man. Adrian goes off the deep end. I love it. I'm influencing you to go off the deep end. Let's be open and free. Come on, people. Even though Joe Rogan's they're trying to cancel Joe Rogan, let's try to be open and free. Say what you want. That would be a rough hand job, but it'd be nice still, I'm sure. Yeah, I see, and that is crazy. I think that video is a perfect example of just how competitive it is, because if it's true, Michael, that she's not in like a serious like performing situation, how is that possible that you can be that excellent because the competition is that stiff? That's your answer? Like, that's crazy. I mean, I know I would get, now I don't know this at all, but I would guess the amount of kids who are starting at a really young age in this kind of stuff, like piano, violin, orchestral kind of stuff, I would just guess in today's world, the amount of kids that are starting really young in this kind of situation is much less than it was 15 years ago. I feel like, again, the transition of music and everything else in our world, I think our world, at least in America, and I think our world in general, is turning into more of we are becoming less and less hard workers. We're becoming more and more lazy, and we want things more and more easy. Even technology is pushing to make things easier. This kind of life, to like focus every single day to this like is just, I think, getting less and less appealing and less done, because our world is getting away from, I think, the master of trades kind of situation, and we're becoming more of a jack of all trades, master of none world, if that makes sense. So again, I can't prove this. I have no numbers to prove this, but to me, I think it's a pretty good educated guess that the competition in this situation would be less because there's less people fighting for it. However, it would be more competition because there's less orchestras happening because there's less demand for it. That's my theory. It's my hypothesis, but I don't have anything to prove it or nothing to back it up. It's just my feeling based on the way I view our world and where our world is going. We are becoming less and less specific, more general. We're becoming lazier and less hardworking. We're becoming more open, no pun intended, to like relationship styles that are different. We're not very focused on one relation, monogamy anymore. Like, it's just, I feel like our world is moving into less complexity. Is that what I'm saying? Okay, maybe that's what I'm saying. All right. Enough of the philosophy for now. All right, so this next one, if I'm right, Rachmaninoff's Prelude in C sharp minor. Okay, it's pronounced. Oh, I know how it's pronounced. Thanks though. You guys think it again. I would love to see you guys get on here live without seeing something and see how you pronunciate things you don't know. The twist here is that it's performed by the musical comedy duo of Ig Gutzman and Jew. Rachmaninoff did indeed have huge hands, and my father used to tell me that many pianists, including himself, were not able to play his stuff as written due to simply not being able to stretch one's fingers far enough to play all the notes he would require. He also tended to write incredibly difficult to play piano pieces, and if you ever see a pianist playing his stuff, you know they have to be really, really, really good. Jew, the pianist here, who seems a damn good player that I can tell, comes up with a rather unique solution to playing it. Very interesting. Let's see what Jew's unique way of playing it is. Here we go. Video is grainy. Not my fault. Oh, he's Korean. Yeah, he said son, which is hands in Korean. Interesting. This is Korean. I should be able to understand what he says.
저는 한국 사람이니까
I am Korean.
small hands.
Small hands. And penis. I mean, what?
But only hands small.
There you go. Play with your dick. It's your 11th finger. That's funny. Give him credit. This is funny. Korean humor is so terrible, but sometimes it's funny like this. And they think our, at least the American humor, is so stupid. I can understand because it's so sexualized in America. Nice. Very cool. Hey, I'll definitely give it to you, Michael. You're picking some cool stuff that is interesting. It's not like just us listening to an orchestra or something like that, because, you know, to be honest, that would not be, I think, very interesting for most of the people in the chat. But I do think you're doing a good job at, like, picking things that do make it interesting and fun to watch. So, nice job, nice job, nice job, nice job, nice job. Yeah, so let's get on to this last one, and I'll not give you a philosophical breakdown for this part. Variation on, however you say it, La Campanella. I see, again, whenever I see two L's, I think Spanish, and it's not pronounced that way. Campanella? 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 Is it Campanella? Written by Franz Liszt, a piano shredder in his day, again, mid to late 1800s. Liszt was also known for his prolific sexual appetite, as well as being an all-time great composer and pianist. He, like Paganini, enjoyed writing stuff no one else could play at the time, so it figures he'd be attracted to one of Paganini's devilishly difficult violin pieces. He then transcribed it into an even more difficult piano piece, all very interesting, that very few professional pianists would attempt in a musical program due to the likelihood of messing up. Interesting. Like Rachmaninoff, if you see a guy playing Liszt, rest assured he or she must be very good. Enter Lola. Guys, I'm in love. Uh-oh, Michael's in love with Lola. Lola Astanova has a YouTube channel, and from what I can see, she's a damn good classical pianist and hot as fuck as well. Dude, this makes me want to watch this video. She has many vids on her channel dressed in various enticing attire. Oh my gosh. And plays all sorts of stuff. I had noted that concentration wanders in this chat by the end of some sets, so I saved her for last, figuring she'd hold all the guys' interest here. And again, she's playing an incredibly, everything's in caps there, incredibly difficult piece, and does it easily. I'm impressed on many levels, from my head down to my toes. Well, you get the idea. Seriously, though, she is quite a player. All right, so yeah, I'm going to have no problem watching this shit. I cannot wait. I will see how if I agree if she's hot or not. Because I'm, you know, people call me picky, but we'll see. don't see her. Where is she? Come on, Lola. JBB's left out. Well, if you're into chicks, JBB, you can enjoy it too. Already liking the body. Yeah, she is pretty. I'd like to see her up close, but... I like the outfit. Looks like she's about to go salsa dancing. Adrian's in love. Ryan. I don't know what's more beautiful, her or the car. Is that her husband? Dude, those like alternate like doo, doo, doo. Definitely fucking hard. It's like muscle memory. How you doing, Morgan? Got my same name. Glad you dropped in, Morgan. We got the same name. And you dropped in at a perfect time, because... I just keep hearing that... It's like that same note. Yeah, I like the bounciness. The bounciness is really good. This dude's like, I'm in love. Oh, we're gonna get all sexual here? I have another philosophical moment to talk about after this. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think that she's doing an excellent, or they are doing an excellent job at holding your attention with the additives of what's going on, but still being able to pay attention to the music. JBB, it's not cheesy, it's good. How do you hold people's attention that would not rather pay attention after the first minute or two? His acting is not great, but that's okay. Yeah. Acting is not great, but that's not cheesy. Just not good acting. Yeah, it might be a perfume commercial, but that's not cheesy. It's just retarded, maybe, but... Focus on her playing, Adrian? You mean focus on her? Yeah, he's kind of cheesy. Not cheesy, he's just a bad actor. Yeah, she's taking his car. Nice. Aston Martin. Yeah, it would be a great porn idea. Agree, Morgan. Agree. M squared here. Hey, Dolce & Gabbana's on there. That's funny that you said that. All right. So, yeah, Michael, I would say that is that is great. I mean, the legs were nice. But I would say I would like to see more videos where she's more risque. Which leads me into my philosophical last thought about this situation that it brought up for me. Is I like that she embraces the fact that she's beautiful. I feel like another thing that's becoming an issue in our society is that like women feel like they have to get past the whole simplistic idea of just being beautiful, and they try to like disown the fact that it's just about looks or whatever. So a perfect example of this is I think Jennifer Love Hewitt is hot. She used to be hot. She is hot, whatever. And then I read an article, and this is probably like a couple months ago, where she like was talking about how she feels, she was used for her body, and she was da-da-da-da, and she thinks it's not good that she was used for her body. And I'm like, so that I don't respect at all. It actually made me disrespect her, because it was like, she's still like, she's in a show. I've never watched it, but I know that she's in a show where she's a massage therapist that gives happy endings to people. And in the whole show, she's wearing very revealing boob clothes. And it's like, okay, if you're going to disown something, you better disown it and not like play a part in it. Like, I hate this crap where they try to blame other people for them using their sexuality to get what they want. It's like, you used it and got what you wanted, and it worked out for you pretty well, and now you're going to shit on it? Like, just own it. Just be like, yeah, that's the way it is, and, it's okay. It's just, you're hot. It's a part of, you've got an advantage in the hot category. Now, you may not have the advantage in other categories, but you definitely got it in the hot category. Use it to your advantage. I would. And so, like, just own it. And, like, that's what I like about this girl, is it's obvious she knows she's hot. It's obvious that she knows people are going to be as attracted to her as her playing. And it's like, why not combine both of them and make them worthwhile for you? Just own it. That's cool. But this whole, like, movement of, like, I'm hot, but I gotta distance myself from it, even though I'm gonna try to use it anyway. It's like, then just cut your hair off and look like a boy, like which some people do. But at least I respect that. So yeah, I have no problem when girls like use their femininity and use their hotness to get what they want. It's like, yeah, duh. Like if I was 6'5" and athletic, I would use that to my ability. Why not? Why would I try to? Well, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I hate that about our society. And again, this gets all wrapped up in what's going on with Joe Rogan as well. It's just like, just stop, people. So yes, I do think there's things that need to change from the past. So I'm not invoking that we go back to the olden days, but I am saying like the pendulum scheme again has now like so shifted to, in my opinion, the other extreme, that it's like, can't we just find more of a middle ground like progressive rock? There we go. That's the summation of my whole thing. My whole philosophy is, can't we just find more progressive rock? Not more cowbell, more progressive rock. And on that, yes, Michael, I think you did a good job at taking a very difficult musical style and presenting it in a way that I think holds people's attention, especially when the girl's hot. Don't blame her. And I would say Sumina, is that how you say her name? Sumina was hot too. So Sumina, again, if you see this, call me. And I would say the same thing about Dolce & Gabbana girl, but she's probably not going to call me either. Unfortunately. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great Sunday. We will be here for tomorrow. There's going to be an album tomorrow. And yes, so we will see you tomorrow night. Michael, glad you introduced again on this channel. I hope that we get some differences of like, you know, classical, punk, rap, whatever you guys feel like you want to share on the channel that maybe some of us would like. I'm totally down. This is about trying to figure out music that we would like that we might not otherwise have heard. So I think we're accomplishing that on this channel so far, and I like the community that we're building again. And you guys have a great Sunday, and we'll see you here tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Morgan, glad you came. What does Morgan say? Yes, and there are other people that get away with that too, Morgan. I would say, who was it? Why can't I think of her name? Adele, before she got skinny, because I guess she's skinny now. But Adele did that. Like, the music is just the music, and people liked it for what it was, regardless. But she also had a unique product. It's kind of hard to present something that is not unique in of itself, and present it where people like it. The whole package is a part of it too. Morgan, glad you joined us. Rasmus, glad you joined us. Hopefully you guys keep coming back, and we will continue to have fun and exploring music. All right, peace. I'm really out this time. Later.